Welcome to AWS for Product Development Teams, Module 1, Product Foundation on AWS. This practical, hands-on series is for product managers and engineering leads who want to build on AWS correctly from day one, with proper governance, security, and team structure. This program is the start of our new series brought to you by the Series of Thoughts team.
This video series spans 6 modules, covering topics from product foundation and architecture to CI/CD, data and analytics, AI/ML features, and operations in production. Module 1 focuses on the foundational setup every product team needs. We cover account structure, access control, and governance, which are crucial decisions that shape how fast and safely your team can move. The module includes setting up your team environment, managing IAM for product teams, and establishing cost visibility from the start. Episode 1.1 focuses on setting up your team environment on AWS. Your account structure is a product decision, not an IT afterthought. Getting this right early can save weeks of painful untangling later. The problem with a single shared account is threefold: cost confusion, security bleed, and permission conflicts. Without clear separation, it's hard to track costs, mistakes can affect production, and developers might accumulate excessive permissions, leading to compliance risk. Account separation is a product decision because it directly impacts team autonomy, release velocity, and accountability. Separating accounts per environment gives each team ownership of their space. Account boundaries are AWS's powerful governance primitive for isolating billing, security, and policy. AWS Organizations allows you to manage multiple AWS accounts under a single umbrella, providing centralized billing, unified policy enforcement, and a clear hierarchy. This is vital for product managers as it turns isolated accounts into a governed platform, allowing you to enforce non-negotiable guardrails. Think of your AWS organization as an org chart for cloud infrastructure. Organizational units, or OUs, group accounts by environment or workload. Policies applied at the OU level cascade down automatically. The golden rule is one account per environment, separate accounts for development, staging, and production. This setup is recommended by AWS for production workloads. Each environment has different guardrails, from loose in dev to the tightest in production. The root account has unrestricted access and must be locked down immediately. Enable MFA, never use root for daily operations, and remove all root access keys. This is the master key and should be treated accordingly. The problem with shared credentials is that before single sign-on, or SSO, teams often relied on long-lived access keys, leading to unauditable access, zero accountability, and significant breach risk. You need a modern authentication solution. IAM Identity Center, formerly AWS SSO, is the recommended way to access multiple AWS accounts. It federates identity, enforces MFA, and creates short-lived session credentials that automatically expire, eliminating long-lived keys. Setting up IAM Identity Center involves 4 steps. First, enable IAM Identity Center. Second, create your users and groups. Third, define permission sets, which are IAM policies matching roles. Finally, assign accounts to groups with the appropriate permission sets. Permission sets enforce least privilege access by default. They ensure each person gets exactly what they need to do their job, nothing more. Examples include admin access, developer access, read-only access, and billing access, each matching a specific role and function. After implementing IAM Identity Center, each person logs in with their own identity, and temporary credentials expire automatically. This provides a full CloudTrail audit log, eliminates the need to rotate keys, and simplifies offboarding by disabling a single user. AWS Control Tower is the automation layer that unites AWS Organizations and IAM Identity Center. It provides pre-built guardrails, compliance baselines, and a landing zone you can deploy in hours, not weeks. Control Tower automates the setup of your secure, multi-account environment. It includes guardrails, which are pre-built preventative and detective controls, Account Factory for provisioning new baseline compliant accounts, and a landing zone, which is a pre-configured environment with automatic logging and auditing. From a product manager's perspective, Control Tower answers how to move fast without creating security and compliance debt. The Account Factory allows a new team or product to get a fully secured AWS account in under 15 minutes, accelerating their launch. Here are the 3 AWS services discussed in this video. AWS Organizations for structural foundation and centralized billing. IAM Identity Center for federated SSO and short-lived credentials. And AWS Control Tower for automated governance and compliance. The hands-on setup sequence involves 5 steps. First, creating the management account and enabling organizations. Then, creating OUs for dev, staging, and prod. Next, enabling Control Tower and deploying the landing zone. Fourth, enabling IAM Identity Center and connecting the identity provider. Finally, assigning access to users via permission sets. Developers should use the AWS CLIV2 with SSO profiles, which eliminates static access keys. The AWSSO command sets up the profile, and AWSSO login initiates browser authentication. Credentials are short-lived and automatically expire, removing credential management burden. When creating member accounts, establish a consistent naming convention, like company product environment. Use unique email aliases for each account's root access, ensuring all notifications go to a central inbox. Immediately assign new accounts to the correct OU to inherit appropriate guardrails. Service Control Policies, or SCPs, are organization-level guardrails that apply to every identity in every account, defining the ceiling of what is possible. Examples include denying actions outside approved regions or enforcing SSO by denying IAM user creation. A structured account hierarchy is critical for auditability and accountability. CloudTrail logs every API call. Control Tower ensures auditability by automatically creating a centralized, read-only log archive account that aggregates logs from all member accounts. Avoid common mistakes. First, skipping a staging environment exposes the product to unnecessary risk. Second, never use the management account for running workloads, as it bypasses many guardrails. Third, use SSO roles instead of creating long-lived IAM users for human access. As a product manager, verify the structure, organization created, OUs defined, separate accounts per environment, and naming conventions applied. Next, verify access. IAM Identity Center is enabled, identity provider is connected, permission sets are correct, and no shared root credentials or long-lived keys are in use. Finally, confirm governance. Control Tower deployed with guardrails, log archive and audit accounts provisioned, billing alerts configured, and account factory tested. When these foundations are in place, your team is production ready. Skipping this initial setup leads to organizational debt, including painful account migration, time-consuming permission archaeology, and complicated billing reconstruction later on. A focused half-day session now can set up the entire account structure, SSO, and governance baseline. This effort saves weeks later, allowing your team to focus on shipping features instead of untangling infrastructure debt. In the next video, we go deeper on identity and access management, moving beyond SSO setup into the practical design of IAM roles, policies, and permission boundaries. We'll cover role design patterns, cross-account access, and least privilege principles in practice.